James Madison was born on March 16, 1751, in the colony of Virginia. He grew up in a wealthy family, with many opportunities for education and learning. Madison's father, James Madison Sr., was a successful landowner, and the family had a large plantation. James Madison, who was small and frail as a child, spent a lot of time studying and reading books. His health kept him from being very active, but his mind was sharp and curious. He learned many things about history, philosophy, and government, which would later help him make important decisions for his country. Madison attended Princeton University, where he studied a wide range of subjects. He learned about the ancient governments of Greece and Rome, which had different ideas about how to rule. These ideas influenced Madison's thoughts on how the government of the United States should be organized. He graduated in 1771, at the young age of 20, and began to get involved in politics. By this time, the American colonies were starting to feel frustrated with British rule. In the 1770s, the American colonies were not happy with the British government. The British were making laws and taxes that the colonists did not like. This led to protests and the desire for independence. James Madison strongly believed that the colonies should be free and have their own government. In 1776, when the Declaration of Independence was written, Madison supported the idea of America becoming a new, independent nation. He wanted the United States to have a government where the people had power, rather than being ruled by a king or a distant government. After the American Revolution, when the United States won its independence, the country faced new challenges. The Articles of Confederation, which were the first set of laws for the country, were not strong enough to hold the country together. The central government had very little power, and states were able to make their own laws without much cooperation. Madison believed that the country needed a stronger government that could unite all the states and make important decisions. In 1787, James Madison attended a meeting in Philadelphia with many other important leaders. This meeting, called the Constitutional Convention, was where they wrote a new document to create a stronger government for the United States. Madison played a very important role in the meetings and debates. He spent a lot of time thinking about how to balance power between the states and the central government. He also wanted to make sure that no one person or group would become too powerful. Madison's ideas were important in shaping the Constitution. One of his most famous ideas was creating three branches of government: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. This way, each branch would check the power of the others, and no branch could become too strong. Madison believed that this balance of power was necessary to keep the country stable and free. In addition to creating the structure of the government, Madison also thought it was important to protect the rights of the people. Many Americans feared that a strong central government could take away their freedoms. To address this, Madison proposed the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is a list of 10 amendments to the Constitution that guarantee certain freedoms, such as freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to a fair trial. Madison worked hard to make sure that these protections were included in the new Constitution. In 1789, the United States adopted the new Constitution, and Madison became a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. He continued to play an important role in shaping the country's laws. Madison was known for his careful thought and clear writing. He was often called the father of the Constitution because of his significant contributions. He also wrote many essays with Alexander Hamilton and John Jay that explained why the Constitution was important. These essays were called the Federalist Papers and were widely read by Americans at the time. In 1808, James Madison became the fourth President of the United States. As President, Madison faced many challenges, especially in foreign policy. One of the biggest problems was the tension between the United States and Britain. The British were interfering with American trade and capturing American sailors to work on British ships. Madison tried to solve these problems diplomatically, but when things didn't improve, he decided to go to war. This led to the War of 1812, a conflict between the United States and Britain. The War of 1812 was difficult for the United States. The British were powerful, and they attacked American cities. However, despite the difficulties, the United States managed to survive the war and defend its independence. After the war, Madison worked to rebuild the country and strengthen its economy. He supported building new roads, canals, and other improvements to make trade easier. He also helped to create the Second Bank of the United States, which helped stabilize the economy. Madison's presidency also marked a time of national unity. After the War of 1812, Americans were proud of their country's ability to defend itself. Madison's leadership helped to bring the nation together and focus on growth and development. Madison believed in the importance of strong and united states, but also wanted to ensure that individual states still had rights and powers. When Madison finished his time as president in 1817, he retired to his home in Virginia, known as Montpelier. There, he continued to think about politics and government. He kept writing letters and essays about how the government should work. Even after leaving the presidency, Madison remained an important figure in American politics. James Madison died on June 28, 1836, at the age of 85. He left behind a legacy of ideas that still guide the United States today. His work on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is considered one of the most important contributions to American democracy. Madison believed deeply in the power of ideas and the importance of a fair and just government. He worked tirelessly to ensure that the government would protect the rights of the people, and his ideas continue to influence the country to this day. James Madison's life was marked by his dedication to building a government that was fair, balanced, and protective of the people's rights. He was an intellectual and a leader who believed in the power of democracy. His ideas helped to create the United States as it is today, and his legacy continues to inspire those who believe in the principles of freedom and justice. Madison's contributions to the United States show how important it is to have a strong, thoughtful government. His work as the father of the Constitution and his efforts to create the Bill of Rights helped build a foundation for the freedoms that Americans enjoy today. His life teaches us that good government requires careful thought, cooperation, and respect for the rights of all people. James Madison's legacy will always be remembered as one of the most important figures in the history of the United States.